Welcome to episode 82 of Paris Playbook. Today I'm joined by Masin Davis of the University of New Hampshire football team. Mason, how's it going? Thanks for hopping on.
Good, Alex. How are you doing, man?
I'm doing pretty good. You guys just wrap up your spring practices, or are you guys still going?
Yeah, so we just had I think it was practice number might have been number 9
Okay.
yesterday afternoon. We had like a junior day. It was
Yeah.
awesome. A lot of kids out to see the program and how we practice. So it was good. We got 2 more weeks left. Our spring game, I think, is on the 26th of April, so
Okay.
coming up close. Yeah.
So you guys are kind of getting towards the middle of it.
Yeah, we're in like that middle stretch area where, it's almost done, but trying to, get the most work possible done with this group before we head into August camp.
That junior day, that's got to be kind of cool. I mean, seeing all those kids and you looking up to you guys, and I mean, that's kind of one of the like big, huge things about being an athlete. Setting that foundation for the younger kids, somebody to look up to. I'm sure you remember being a younger kid looking up to college football players and being, oh, I wish that was me someday. And now here you are.
Yeah, it was awesome. There's like I think about like over 100 kids, maybe like over 80 to 100 kids there. So it was awesome. It was good atmosphere. Had parents, kids watching the practices. It was awesome. Yeah, definitely for sure.
Yeah, that's cool. So let's talk a little bit about your recruiting process and then I guess eventually choosing New Hampshire. I mean, did you have like a smooth recruiting process? Was it stressful? How was it for you?
Honestly, it was like a pretty quick one. So I was throughout high school, I loved basketball. I thought I was gonna be like, grow to be like 6'8" and be, this crazy like D1 basketball athlete. But I grew, to like 6'3", I would say, maybe 6'4". But um I didn't really start taking football like as seriously until maybe, my sophomore, junior year. So I was always like, oh, basketball is like my main sport, my main sport, my main sport. And then I went to St. John's Prep in Danvers, Massachusetts. It's a pretty like prestigious program over in that area. Um, and we had a really, really, really good junior year for me. But we won our state championship for the first time in like a while in 2018. We had a lot of good players on that team, and then we repeated um, in 2019, my senior year. And I wasn't really, I was getting recruited by like D3 colleges like NESCAC schools, like Colby, Williams, all those places. So I was thinking, going more like academic. And then I had a really good senior year. And my coach, Brian St. Pierre, he gave me really good recommendations from coaches that would, come in to see other players. We had really good players. Um, that who graduated with me. So he was like, telling me about them and all that type of stuff, telling that I could be like a good prospect. So UNH didn't come until I would say like maybe like January of like 2020, which is when I was going to graduate. So it was a quick process. Like they invited me to official visit, I think in like February of 2020. And then right after that day, I was like, I'm committed because I love the process. I love the storied program, Coach Mack, Coach Santos, two big, influences on my football career as a college athlete. And when they were, recruiting me, I was like, this might be like my place, my home, because it just felt, so like you can work hard and you can, achieve big things. Like I wasn't recruited, like that was probably like my only real D1 offer. So I was like, I'm just gonna go with it. They offered me and I was like, just do it. So it's been a good, decision that I made for me and my family. So it's pretty quick. It was they offered me and I was like, I'm coming here. This
Kind
is,
of just
it's a great place.
when you know type thing.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly. Exactly.
well, that's awesome. And you've been there for 3 years now. I'm sure that kind of time flies. It's got to be crazy, kind of thinking how long you've been there and that you're going into your fourth year.
Yeah, yep, yep.
It's that's what I remember just going into college. Everyone's saying like it's gonna go so fast, and at the time I was like, yeah, whatever. Like it's it's gonna drag on with classes and all that. And now I'm almost been graduated for a year now. It's crazy like how fast it actually goes.
Yeah, it's wild. It's like I was like, wow, college is like this big thing. Like I'm going on like this big campus. Might be, like the longest stretch of my life, but it went by so fast with like meeting people, classes, football practices, all that type of stuff. So it does fly by big time.
Yeah. So speaking of practices, what do you think are like the biggest differences between college football practice and high school football practice?
Oh, it's a great question. So high school, I feel like at St. John's we had really good high school practices. Like we were always, dialed in. That's what, got us to those, we had great coaches, great other players that I had, my classmates. Were always like dialed in. That's what I felt got us to those back-to-back state championships. Like we were always focused. We went to morning lifts, all that type of stuff. But then I got to college. So I got to college in 2020. So it was like we didn't play any games that fall. So it was kind of like a spring, but like moves to the fall. It was like 15 practices, like padded practices for like the fall semester. So I remember my first practice that time. I was like, this is wild. The pace and the physicality are the two things that stand out to me, especially. You're like, wow, am I even like I remember my first practice, I was like, oh God, am I even, ready for this? But I was, it definitely gets you ready for games. But I just remember, holding the bag for like the older linemen that I was like practicing with, and I was like, oh my God, they hit hard, they're fast, they're bigger, So it's definitely a big, transition from high school to college is like the pace, physicality, and it's demanding, but definitely gets you ready for games, especially at UNH. We always practice hard. It's a lunch pail mentality. So making sure that we always, bring it every day. It's not, just lollygagging around. You got to be bringing it every day. And if you do, you have a chance to play, but just making sure that you're always bringing it. It's going to be tough. It's going to be fast. We always practice with the pace for a purpose, but it's awesome. It's a big transition, but it's served me well so far.
So as a lineman, do they like emphasize like getting bigger like when you get there? I mean, obviously everybody over the years, you look at pictures or and kind of like weights and stuff for guys when they first come in as a lineman to like their senior year, and some guys weigh like 50 pounds more than they did. I mean, you're building muscle and eating more and like all this stuff. Is that something that's emphasized right away? Like you got to get bigger?
Oh yeah, big time. So that's when I was talking about my high school recruiting. I was like super, smaller. I wasn't like, like a big like 280 come out of like high school. I was, I was playing basketball and I didn't really know about like nutrition or, building muscle like that, like I did, but not as much. So I came in, I think at UNH like around 255 pounds and now I'm at like 305 pounds. So it's been a big, eating, getting the protein, making sure you're getting like your protein shakes in. So it's definitely a big thing, getting bigger because the dudes at the college level are just different, and you want to make sure that you can, stay with them, especially at O line. It's a big thing. You don't want, your quarterback to get killed. So that was a big thing for me was maybe like 4 meals a day with like a bunch of snacks, like Uncrustables, milk, all that type of stuff that gets you right. And they at UNH we have a really good, strength and training program. Paul Chapman runs it. Chappie, he's the best, and he got me right definitely for sure because you come in, I was a, smaller guy coming in too as a lineman. A lot of the dudes I came in with were pretty bigger than me. So just making sure I was eating all day and, getting my meals in. So it's definitely a big thing, definitely a big process. It's, an add-on to, the physicality and the pace is definitely the size, I would say.
Yeah. Yeah, that's crazy. Just
Yeah.
talking about like and it's not the usual, but there was that guy who was on the University of Minnesota. It was a couple years ago. He was like 400 pounds, 6'6" or 8" or whatever he was. I mean, I can't imagine having to, you're like rushing against that guy, trying to get past him. Like that's just it's huge.
Yeah. 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 For sure. For sure.
You get some giant guys,
Yeah.
definitely. And then some fast guys too. Like, I mean, I'm assuming you come across some like edge rushers or even some interior defensive linemen that can just move. And that's got to be a challenge sometimes.
Yeah, big time, big time. Especially at UNH, we have two All-American DNs that came in the 2020 class with me, Josiah and Flex. They're two, really good defensive ends. I get the best looks every day, I would say, from
Yeah.
them. All-American
S-
guys. It's
Super
fun.
helpful.
Yeah, definitely, definitely, for sure.
So one of the biggest moments in like everybody's college career would be the first game you get to play in. I'm sure there were some nerves and jitters. Did you know like way ahead of time, like maybe the week before that you were going to get playing time, or was it kind of a day of decision?
Yeah, so I think it was the 2021 season. I was only in for special teams my first game. It was against Lafayette. I think it was like week 3 or something like that. There was like a COVID case, so I got moved up in the depth chart to be like a shield on punt, which is just like protecting the punter after the ball snaps. And I was excited but nervous at the same time when I was, got the news. I knew like I think like the Tuesday practice before the game. So I was like, I was ready to go, getting ready that week. My coach was giving me, the best look. So that was definitely a moment for me, I would say, because it was awesome to get in my first game, even though it was only special teams, but special teams is a big part at UNH. So it was definitely a blessing and honor to be able to get in the game for the first time. And then last season, 2023 was my first official season starting. So that was a great time too. My first start was against Stonehill week 1, so it was
Yeah,
good. Yeah.
super exciting. So I gotta like I'm always been curious, like when you're getting into your stance or even like in the middle of play, like are there words exchanged between like you and then the defensive linemen that are rushing at you, or is it everyone just kind of like grunting and like making noise? Like are like people say anything like throwing out,
Yeah,
jabs or like
I'm usually the type of guy to not, really trash talk. Some dudes trash talk. Like I wouldn't say like during like the like when you're in stance, I would say like it's more like after the whistles, blowing all that type of stuff, maybe, going back to the huddle, I would say. But I would say a lot of the time it is like mostly like grunting when you're in your stance, especially if it's like a third and long, the DN's coming, he's like stance is like 2 point stance is ready to go. It's mostly stance trying to, get ready and get focused. But there's definitely trash talk that goes on, especially
yeah.
during like a heated game, especially against like our rivals main trash talk, big time trash talk. But it's all part of the game, so it's fun, makes it all fun.
Do you have any guys that went to your high school that are on teams that you guys play regularly?
Yeah, so last year, one of my classmates, Anthony Fagan from Stonehill, he was on, yeah, it's from St. John's Prep. He was on Stonehill, so it was good to play against him. And then I think it was 2022 playoffs. I got to play against one of my other classmates, Matt Douchman. He was on Holy Cross. That was a good moment to see the both of them because how far we came from like high school to college was, great to see that progression, I would say. And it was awesome to, play against them, talk to them after the game, even though we lost against Holy Cross, a tough one. But it's good to see them. Good to always, catch up with your boys who came from out of high school to college ball with. It's always awesome. Always a good
Yeah,
part of the process.
definitely exciting and it kind of it makes it a little more fun too when you've got like a connection in the game opposed to, I mean, obviously, if it's a ranked team or you're like rival or whatever, it's going to be exciting. But when you like know, hey, I'm playing against one of my teammates, you want to win more because then you want to have a little bit of bragging rights over a guy you used to play with.
Exactly. That's a big thing too. Definitely. Definitely a big thing.
So let's talk about this past year a little bit. I mean, you guys had a pretty tough schedule. I mean, looking at it, really tough schedule. One of your FBS games was CMU, and I mean, it was a high scoring game. You guys ended up losing by 3. It had to be kind of a heartbreaking loss. How'd that game go? Was it like a last minute field goal that got it for them? Did it go down to the wire? Or?
Yeah, that was a wild game. That was a shootout. Our running back was about to get drafted, Dylan Lobby. He had like broke a FCS record for the most receiving yards by a running back, I believe, or most in the game. It was something video game stat. Like he was going crazy that game, our QB Max as well. But that was just a shootout by both offenses. It was a fun game, definitely a fun game. But they ended up winning on the last second field goal. We definitely
Yeah.
should have won the game. But it was definitely a fun game. It showed that, we're a smaller team, but we can, hang with those guys, especially. That showed us a lot. But yeah, it was a tough one. Tough one to lose to a last second field goal as well.
I mean, nobody wants to lose, but it's a statement loss. Like you
Yeah,
said, you prove something. I mean, I feel like some people kind of look down on FCS, and when the FCS teams either lose close or upset FBS teams, it kind of proves like we're really no lower in our competition. Like we have high level athletes here, and we can win.
Oh, exactly. We had a bunch of talent on our team last year. All the older guys we had, all the dudes who played. We have a bunch of talent at New Hampshire, and that showed, especially in that game. That was crazy. But I always like seeing those, especially us FCS teams going against, the bigger schools. They call it like a money game. So it was awesome to, be in that atmosphere at CMU, just seeing the stadium and the fans. It was awesome, but tough one to lose, but definitely a good experience just to, play against a bigger school and a bigger team as well.
That's a cool stadium they have there. I
Yeah, yeah. They got like it's I forget what they had, but they had like the big stands in the back and then like they had the fans on like the opposing sideline. So you're hearing the other team's fans like right above you. It's awesome. It's a good atmosphere as well.
Yeah, seats a lot of people too. Like you get a lot of people
Yeah,
in there.
yeah, yeah. There's a lot of people there. It's a fun game. Fun game for sure.
So you guys, I mean, overall, you didn't have a bad season. Like 6-5 is not horrible. Obviously, you want more wins, and you had a lot of one score games, 4 1-score games, which obviously kind of sucks. Like you know how close you were, but you know you were that close to being 10-1, which I guess gives you a lot to build on going into this next season, right? You know there's like little things to fix, but it's not like you have to wipe the slate clean. It's not like you were getting cranked in every game, getting beat, by 30 points. And it's like, okay, we got to go with a completely new approach. You have a
Yeah,
foundation for next year. You just got to build on it. So, is there
exactly.
anything specific like that coach has been working on? Hey, we need to improve on this because this is, it really hurt us in those games.
Yeah, definitely. We lost some heartbreakers last year, which, stunk, but it's a part of the game. Our big thing, Coach Santos emphasizes this spring was that we have to finish. That was like the biggest thing that hurt us last year was just, finishing. We were in games all year, but just sometimes at the end we just came up a little bit short and, it wasn't like we were getting, blown out by teams. It was just tough finishes. So we finished, we had match drills earlier this year, which are just like, conditioning drills is probably like one of the toughest things we do all year. So just trying to, finish those, making sure that you're like staying detail oriented. We get graded on those all day, which is, good to see, but it's definitely a tough part of the year. But just showing that you can, get through it and be better, even though you're getting tired and you're getting fatigued, just making sure that you're doing everything right to, be the best, possible teammate, I would say. So just finishing is a big thing this year. And that's where, we've been emphasizing all spring long.
And you guys have another tough schedule as you always do with exciting season opener against UCF. I mean, that's been one of like the kind of like best stories of college football over the past 10 years is that program's rise to prominence and like being a kind of household name now. Like when you say UCF football, like that means something. And then you guys are going to get to go in there and try to prove yourselves against a program like that. That's got to be an exciting thought.
Oh yeah, definitely. Definitely gonna be exciting opener, against the an FBS team that has, a lot of success over like the past decade. I know I was, when I was younger, watching those like UCF teams going like undefeated, all that type of stuff. So definitely be good to see that, but also just trying to, do the same thing we did at Central Michigan last year, trying to make a name for ourselves, continue on that, trying to, beat an FBS team. That would be huge for the first win of the year. So just making sure we've been, focusing on getting better every day. It's not looking forward to that game, but getting better every day. So when that time comes, when that game comes, we're ready to go, ready to, compete against, probably very good team. So
Yeah.
I'm excited for that to see, how we do, how we compete. So I know we got, a bunch of guys who are, will compete, especially, a game like that, first game. So definitely excited to go out there to Orlando and go play them.
And be a little bit different weather than you guys are used to up in New Hampshire.
Big time. It's gonna be, late August in Florida. So something, I'm not used to. We got a few Florida boys on the team, so they might be used to it, but it's definitely not New Hampshire. It's gonna be humid, sweating, gotta make sure we get our, our salt in, our Gatorade, all that type of stuff. So hydrating so we don't,
Yeah.
ramp up on the field. Yeah.
Yeah.
But
All right, and then, it's another opportunity for you guys to make yourselves a household name in like FCS? I feel like when people think of FCS football, there's certain schools like North Dakota State, South Dakota State, like those are like the schools you always think of with FBS. But you guys are totally you're like that close to being one of those names where when people think FBS football, they'll be like, yeah, New Hampshire, they're one of those great teams. So I mean, it's building, right? It's those schools that it wasn't made overnight. Like it takes a long time, obviously, to build there, but you guys are well on your ways. I mean, you had a good season last year, a lot of close losses. Season before, you guys made second round of the playoffs. So I mean, it's all work in progress, and you're definitely headed in the right direction.
Oh, exactly, for sure. We had the legacy of Coach Mack, the legend, for the years that he was at New Hampshire, building a crazy program that, surprised people. But, coming back with Coach Santos and making the playoffs and then, losing some heartbreakers last year. Definitely gonna, build on it this year. We got a young group of guys, but we're figuring it out. We're gonna, do our best, every day, each day in out, focus on, what's at hand each day to get us to, back to the playoffs and back to, like you said, those North Dakota states,
Yeah.
in the Midwest region, all that type of stuff to, make a name for ourselves. Exactly.
Get some natty, get some natties on
Yeah.
them. That's what
Yeah.
everyone wants.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So what's your favorite part about like New Hampshire, just as a place, as a school, as like a community, everything?
I would say it's just, so tight knit. It's a small town, Durham, but they embrace, the football team. It's awesome to get a crowd at their beautiful stadium, Wildcat Stadium. So I would just say, the brotherhood that we have is super important, and also how each and every, member of the community, can help you out, and also just the, the locker room community we have at UNH as well. It's awesome.
Yeah. I mean, you don't find that everywhere. Like, I feel like some people might just assume that every team is close, but you definitely look around college athletics and there's teams that don't have that tightness and that bond.
Yeah, dude, it's a big emphasis at UNH is that, that bond that we have, that we're all, trying to achieve the same goal. At practice we might go at one another, but when we go back in the locker room, it's a tight-knit community that we love our brothers.
Yeah. So I had this question on here and you kind of already answered it. It was what other sports do you like to play? And you mentioned being a big basketball guy growing
Yeah.
up. Do you still hoop it up ever just for fun?
Sometimes here and there, not as much as I used to, not, maybe I should probably try to get back into it. So I loved it so much, but I haven't been hooping like that in a while. I used to every day as a kid just go out and dribble. I lived near a outdoor hoop, so I used to just go shoot there every day. It was awesome, man. I love basketball, but football's taking over my life, so it's
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah, you guys ever like play as a team, just like pick up ball for fun or?
Yeah, yeah. Some guys play pickup ball. I'm kind of washed right now, so not really getting the runs like that. But yeah, a lot of dudes on the team, they're athletic, so I like to play hoops, but I'm kind of washed, so take it
Yeah.
back.
Right. There's something about just being like an athlete, like all around athlete. Like some of the
Yeah,
guys probably never even played basketball, but they can play basketball just because they're good athletes. Like it's just
yeah, it's crazy. Some dudes can, dunk the ball like it's nothing. It's
yeah.
crazy.
Yeah. Yeah. I went to Michigan Tech and it's for football, they're a D2 school and all the football players, they usually get like one or two IM teams for basketball and they pretty
Mhm.
much just run the league. Like it
Yeah,
kind of wasn't fair, like you got all these guys that are, and they're offensive linemen just stopping and pulling up threes. And
yeah,
it, like,
yeah,
I don't know what we're supposed to do against that. We're just a bunch of regular guys playing some
yeah,
ball. I think
yeah.
they beat us like my team, we played them once and like they beat us, I don't know, 50 something to 20. It was just embarrassing. I think I
Mhm.
got kind of dunked on. Like the guy
Yeah,
didn't get full rim, but he was like over me.
yeah,
Like it
over,
was
yeah. Tough,
embarrassing.
tough one.
Right. You just can't compete against that kind of
Exactly,
athleticism.
exactly.
It makes you really respect college athletes at any level. Like it really does.
Yeah, just see athleticism is crazy to see, in different, when they're playing other sports than their sport.
Yeah. It really is. There's something to be said about like just college athletes. I mean, you work so hard to be so athletic and it translates to other things. Doesn't
Exactly.
matter if you're playing sports for leisure or not. They can't even turn it down if they want to. It's just natural.
No, no, no.
Yeah, I feel like sometimes, you play a college athlete for fun, like basketball or something, and you can tell they kind of feel bad that they're like whooping you, but they just
Yeah,
can't help it. Like,
no, no. Oh man.
yeah, good stuff though. So, who was your favorite athlete growing up?
Ooh, growing up, my favorite athlete. So I'm from like 20 minutes away from Boston. So I was a big Boston sports fan during, the best time to be a Boston sports fan, like that 2000s to, late 2010. So I would say Tom Brady is definitely, my favorite athlete growing up, just being able to watch him win, 6 Super Bowls and just be able to watch him
Yeah,
every Sunday. It's inspirational, I would say. Just it's
gotta be nice.
yeah, nothing like it. Nothing like it. Because now, you see Patriots are got the third pick in the draft, and that's, tough. Happens. It's gonna happen regardless. 20 years of having the best player
Yeah,
ever. It was gonna happen. So definitely Tom Brady. I would say for basketball, it's a tough one. It's a tough one. As a kid, I loved Paul Pierce in the Celtics. He was a really good player. Loved him. And then
hmm
now, ooh, I think, yeah, let's say Paul Pierce for sure. And then Jason Tatum,
Oh
Celtics too.
yeah,
Yeah, he's nasty.
yeah.
Hoping the Celtics win it this year. Hopefully this year. I'm begging
Yes,
this is.
sir. Sir, I'm a
Yeah.
Celtics fan too. Like,
Awesome.
have been,
Awesome.
always have been,
Yes,
and
sir.
they've been so like they need another championship. Like you
Oh,
can't
I
be this
know.
good and not win one. Like you got to do it. You got to just
It's been like since 2008. It's been,
yeah,
way too
too
long.
long.
One this year. The last year was a
Definitely.
heartbreaker. The year before was a heartbreaker against the Warriors. Felt like we should have won that, but I'm hoping this is the year. It's gotta be. It's gotta be for sure.
Yeah. I know what you mean though about bad football teams. I'm a Titans fan, and
Ah,
that's kind of nothing really to be happy about.
yeah.
Losing Derrick Henry, that's tough.
Yeah. Tough, tough. You guys had like a really good I'm trying to think like 2020, 21 season, something like that.
Yeah,
You guys were,
yeah.
like one of the top seeds. You had Derrick Henry, Tannehill. You guys were doing good. And then it's tough.
Yeah,
It's tough.
AJ Brown, you
Yeah, yeah,
know.
you guys are a really good team. And then you just run into Patrick Mahomes, and then it's just,
Yeah,
Bengals, tough
that's a
one.
done deal.
Yep.
Definitely, like you said though, had to be awesome being a Boston sports fan. I mean, the Patriots with the Super Bowls, obviously. You look at like the 20 years, the Celtics with a title and a lot of playoff success even without winning titles. And then the Bruins had a Stanley Cup, and then the
Yeah.
Red Sox with a World Series. Like there's not many other cities that in the past 25 years have won a championship in all the major sports. Like
No, no, it's crazy to think about. I think like only, maybe like LA or New York has ever had, teams like that. But just being a sports fan and being able to watch teams that win every day and not, have like, be able to watch teams that, aren't as good. It's awesome to see the Celtics win, the Patriots win, and the Red Sox as well. Also the Bruins. It's awesome.
yeah. Personally, I'm like all over the board with the teams I root for, but like most people in Michigan are true Detroit fans. And like
Yeah.
it's been sad for them over the years because
Yeah.
the Pistons haven't been good since the Bad Boys era. The Tigers haven't been good for a long time. The Red Wings were good, now they've been kind of garbage. And then the Lions until last year
Yeah. Last
were
year I was
pretty
rooting for them.
embarrassing.
I was rooting for the Lions last year. Oh, the Patriots
Yeah.
didn't too well, but I really liked the Lions. They had a really good team this year. It's a tough one. Leading the Niners in the playoff game, then it's tough ending to that one.
Yeah, it's just kind of interesting to think about like a guy like you. All you knew were your team's winning, and like somebody who roots for Detroit, all they know is losing. It's like two
Yeah, yeah,
polar
exactly.
opposites, you know?
Exactly.
That's why I root for teams all over the country. Like I didn't want to just be like I'm in Michigan, I have to root for like I'm a Diamondbacks fan for baseball, Titans for football, hockey, the Ducks, and then Celtics for basketball. Like literally
Yeah.
like every part of the
Yeah, every
country.
part of it. Yeah, you're like, I'm not just staying in just, Michigan. I'm trying to
Yeah.
branch out and, actually see my teams win. That's cool. That's cool.
Yeah. Yeah. People think I'm weird. They're like, what? I don't know, man. Like I got a
It's different,
reason
but hey,
too.
you want to see winning teams.
Yeah, and it's not just like I hate Michigan teams. Like I feel like I have like a reason for why I like most of the teams. You know, there's some like little connection, a certain player that used to play there, and then just stick with it or whatever.
Yep. Yep.
So, what's your favorite food? I mean, obviously you like to eat. Linemen love to eat.
Yeah, it's a tough one. I would say maybe it's a tough one. Definitely got to say maybe some barbecue wings. I would
Yeah.
say barbecue wings. It's definitely my favorite. If I
So
could
big
go one
bucket
meal.
of wings.
Yeah, barbecue wings for sure. For sure.
Yeah, that's a staple. It's hard to say
Yeah,
no to
yeah, yeah.
that.
I can probably eat those all day or, every day and not get sick of them. I love them.
How many can you eat in one go?
It's a good question. I could probably get to 30, then I might have to
Yeah,
tap out. Yeah, probably 30 and then tap out.
that's
Yeah.
pretty
Yeah,
impressive.
yeah, yeah. Because
May,
I can go
may,
to 20. I can go to 20 easily, but then once I get to that 30 mark, it's tough. It's tough to do
I
that.
used to be able to do like not 30, nowhere near like
Mhm.
15 was like I was like I can do 15.
Mhm.
Now I have a hard time with that. Like I can't do it
Yeah.
anymore. Like that's not even that
Yeah,
much. Like
yeah, yeah. I
uh,
eat a lot, so I'm used to
yeah.
getting full like that. So sometimes I stuff my face, gotta make sure make sure I'm, eating a
I
lot.
think I think linemen would definitely be good at like food eating competitions, like a hot dog eating competition. Like that guy, I don't know how he's so good at it because he's like super skinny and like small. I feel like linemen though would be like killer at pie eating competition or whatever it is.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Definitely the pie eating competition, like burger eating competition,
Oh
wings,
yeah.
all that type of stuff for sure.
Yeah. You guys should have one on the team for like fun. Like in the off season, just like have all the linemen and do a chow down.
That's a great idea. That's a great idea. That would be awesome. Maybe do like a fundraiser with that or something like
Yeah,
that.
yeah. Team
Make
bonding,
the most.
community
Yeah,
like involvement. Yeah, it'd
yeah,
be
yeah.
sweet.
Have like a buy-in, see who, eats the most, just for fun, get some funds up. That would be cool. It's a good idea.
Yeah. Or you could even have like some skill position guys like challenge a like lineman if they think they could out eat a lineman or something like that.
That's a good idea too. That's another good one. Really good idea, actually.
Yeah. I don't know. I feel like I would definitely go to that. Like if it was in my town, my football
Oh
team was
yeah.
having that, I'd be like, yeah,
Yeah,
this is sweet.
big,
Let's
big
go.
fundraiser. Yep. Yeah.
Yeah. Be fun on a nice like spring day or something.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. Definitely.
Awesome. Well, Mason, appreciate you coming on the podcast. Really enjoyed talking with you, and I hope to see the New Hampshire football team make a good run next year. It'd be exciting.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you for having me on, Alex. I appreciate you. And for sure, we're, building every day. So hoping we get back to the playoffs and be back there.